Beside me is Liam Grant covering this game. Okay. I'm going to get it. Welcome to Cincinnati and the WFDF 2018 World Ultimate Club Championships. This 1 o'clock game is between PELT and Chevron Action Flash, the men's division, and it's Tom Stiles, and beside me is Liam Grant, an Englishman and an Irishman commentating on an English and Irish team. Liam, this is going to be fantastic stuff, isn't it?
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we need a Scottish man to round it all off, you know, English, Irish and Scottish. But yeah, we're here in the afternoon game. Big shake-up in this group already. Dylan Pagos upsetting it, taking down second seed Otso just moments ago on the other YouTube stream. So this group wide open already. PELT have one game down. This is Chevron's first game. PELT lost 15-10 to Double Wide out of Austin, Texas. So a loss there, but it was a good scoreline for them. I think they'll have learned a lot in that first game and hopefully come out a little hotter than Chevron, who it's a bit tougher playing your second game against a team that's only played one.
I think these teams will be looking at this pool thinking it's there for the taking, but it's going to be a tough ask. You know, Double Wide looking like the favourites to take the pool. Ralan Pagos played brilliantly against Otso. I was standing on the sideline for most of that game doing stats for our other commentators, and they really took it to Otso. They went on a 4-point defensive run in the second half, and that was really the thing that divided the teams. But Liam, tell us a little bit about this team from Limerick, PELT, and how are they approaching this tournament? I know you actually got your cleats on and joined them for a bit of a warm-up game when they were scrimmaging against the Mexican team, Phoenix.
Yeah, I think they're going to really struggle without me, Tom. I'm pretty much the anchor of that whole team. They'll probably fall to pieces after this. No, they're a very athletic team out of Limerick, Ireland. Many of the players coming from the neighbouring counties, though. It's more kind of the western seaboard Irish team. Actually, only one man technically from Limerick on the roster. Many from Tipperary, just west of that. A few Kerry men. No Clare men, unfortunately. But it's kind of just the west of Ireland team. And a lot of them would have played Gaelic football in their past. So are used to that kind of match person defence. Very athletic, quite aggressive. I think you'll see that from both two teams. They don't mind a bit of pushing and shoving in the air. So I think it's going to be a big battle in the skies. We have John Dock's going to pull this one, who's playing for the Seattle Cascades the last 2 seasons.
So we're underway. The Battle of the Irish Sea commences with a great pull, just landing outside. That would have been absolute perfection. The whole PELT D-line down there, putting pressure on the first pass, but it's just drifted outside. We have first look at the Chevron offense.
Yeah, Doc known for his stationary pulls that hang up, but that one drifting out.
Straight away into Barak. Taking away the options really well, PELT here in this early point, but managing to get himself free is Rollo Sachs-Dixon. Down to Colthammer. Colthammer to Winder. Winder is such a key thrower on this team. Getting himself free. Looking really athletic at the moment, Winder. Kime. PELT doing a great job of taking away the first options. Turner's got the disc now. Just a little bit of a risky disc, hung in the air a little bit. Kyle O trying to close down the gap. Colthammer. Across to Winder. Across to Kime. In through the middle, finds the gap. Ben Barak on the end of it. Nervy stuff in that opening point. Hesitant on the first pass, but PELT doing a great job on the defense. It is a hold, but not the most confident hold, Liam.
Yeah, Chevron really had to grind that one out. A lot of pressure comes from PELT, but I think they'll be happy, you know. PELT, a very athletic team, and have actually maybe stacked their D-line in many ways. They're really trying to put pressure on this O-line, so that's the kind of defense you're going to expect from PELT all game long. A lot of pressure. I think both teams would be happy with that point. PELT go, look, we took away a lot of options, and Chevron were like, okay, we would like to maybe score quicker or get free quicker, but we kept our heads, we made good decisions, and we didn't turn over. So, yeah, great start to this game.
Positive from both teams. We should just talk a little bit about the weather conditions. There's a light breeze coming from behind the cameras, so on our backs as we watch the game from the camera vantage point. It's no real end-to-end wind at all, but that's not going to be a big factor in this game, really, Liam.
I don't think so. From what we're used to over in Ireland and the UK, we get a lot of wind, so these conditions balmy. Thankfully, not as sunny and hot as it's been in the days leading up to the tournament.
Mark Penny getting this one under the way. Big disc floating high. Underneath it is Makosevic, but a huge block from Jake Aspin. Fingertips to it. The long shot to Makosevic was pretty spot on, but the defensive play from Aspin equal to it.
Yeah, I think Aspin had maybe laid a trap there. Maybe knew he had a bit more pace than Moskovic. Hung up in the air long enough for him to make a bid, and you just got a taste of some PELT offense there. You'll be getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
It may be broke, but we're definitely not going to fix it. It's going to keep doing that.
I think everyone's happy with that. He's a Dula now. And a deep shot from Chevron just rises over the top, makes it safely to the hands of Steve Dixon, pops it up into the air. Second time, third time round. Oh, they've clung on by their fingertips. Seb Allen, last gasp, second chance try. PELT got some D fingers on that, but Chevron with a quick break.
Yeah, I think he got more than just fingers on him there. Got a handful of Podge Sweeney, but managed to get it on the second attempt. What concentration, and I think they shook hands after that. We see the D here, Aspin getting huge. I think, Chevron have kind of been a bogey team for PELT over the years. Usually we beat teams on their athleticism. We throw those 50-50 balls and kind of expect to come down with them, but I think we're equally matched with a similar style team in Chevron. It's like, we're in a very athletic team as well. I think probably the only team more athletic than them in the UK Irish Ultimate scene, so it's been a bit of a bogey team for them, but we're hoping Chevron can maybe cough up a few here and there.
Well, the Chevron D-line will be happy with that opening break. It's 2-0 to the boys from the UK. Starting in the backfield with Walsh. Makes its way across to Sweeney. Down the line to Walsh again. Best. Pulling this defense around. Creating lots of space. Time. Ryan. Noonan. Sweeney again. Into the end zone. It rises high and gets his feet tucked up underneath. Barry Walsh with the score. Clean hold. The first of those. They'll need a plenty more from PELT.
Yeah, much better from PELT. Barry Walsh, the Nina man, gets the first score on the board for them. And we saw Chevron come out with a zone look first. I think that's just to stop any set plays or maybe stop that hook coming off first pass. And then they quickly transition to a match defense. And you hear the sideline shouting tequila, tequila. So that's their code word for transition. I think that's maybe a good option. Particularly Barry Walsh himself, a very good zone offense player. And when I saw him on the line, I was going, okay, he's going to take control of this point. He loves playing zone offense. And maybe played into their hands, but looking a little more safe and concentrated there, PELT.
And the defense will be looking at how Chevron will be taking that. They dealt with our zone pretty well. Maybe we'll not use that quite so much, or maybe we'll use it in a slightly different way. Yeah, Walsh, defensive handler for PELT. He's got a star-studded career representing Ireland at under-20s, under-23s in 2013 and in 2015, and then making it to the Irish senior men's squad in 2016 in London. So not an inconsiderable CV for Barry. Dathan. Low, nice disc out. Oh, a lovely poach, but didn't quite get it. The disc makes its way to Williams, nevertheless. Olney. And Doug Ollie. Oh, another huge bid. Kyle O getting horizontal. Using their athleticism, the PELT boys really trying hard to take away any loose discs from Chevron.
Yeah, they're going to throw themselves around like a big bag of spuds. You'll see them flying all over the field. Definitely have a lot of energy.
Keim, one assist to his name already. Nicely down the field to Williams. Chevron in the white shirts. Asking a lot of Keim, no problem at all. Dathan. Back to Barak. Brack back to Dathan. One of the most effective handlers. Dathan so slight and quick. Deep shot from Keim into the air, chasing it down. It's the huge figure of Rolo Sachs-Dixon. Gets his feet down just inside the back corner.
Yeah, he's such a dangerous man going deep. I know the PELT lads were talking before the game. One of their tactics was to try and not let him go deep, but that's easier said than done. Often will come under for a short pass and then boost deep, and John Dock getting caught out there. But again, a lot of pressure on their offense, but when you have anchors like Dom Dathan and Josh Keim controlling the offense, those guys don't make mistakes. They're not too flashy of players, but they just keep the disc moving, keep everybody focused and set.
Yeah. You see that deep shot so close to the back of the end zone. Dathan, a very recognisable player. You're a man of similar hair to Dathan, Liam.
Yeah, I saw him at Freckle Fest 2018 there a while ago. A man that may be more sprinkled than myself, but yeah, very recognisable.
PELT under some pressure here with Chevron forcing them into their own end zone. Straight off that really great pull, but they're managing to work its way out now nicely with Scully. Oh, just nearly got the hand down there. Cartwright couldn't quite reach it. Best. High disc. Bid from Chevron, the 214 shirts, Matt Aspen and Jonah Wish. Matching up really nicely then. Another layout from Dixon this time. And this time, third layout in a row. Wow, what pressure. Chevron are bringing Isadullah and a call on the play. PELT know they're in a game right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what call happened there. I think happened maybe 2 throws ago, so get out of jail free card there. I think actually what happened was...
It was a travel.
Yeah, Jonah Wish caught that disc, the one that was competed in the air, and actually walked it up to the front of his end zone as if it was a dead disc, and you can't do that, so... Looks like it's going to go back to Jonah.
I think Issa might be a tad annoyed that travel call was the thing that... Well, they've thrown it back into the turf anyway.
Yeah, pretty similar spot. Obviously, disc doesn't lie. PELT deciding that, no, you guys should have it. We'll give it back to you. We'll leave it there.
That's very good of them, isn't it? Tom Hodgett for Chevron now. Over the top, Aspen. Bevan, talisman for this Chevron side. Leicester school teacher. 35 years old. I remember watching Matt Bevan as a junior. And what a dominant force he was then. Playing with Great Britain mixed, 2004 in Finland. And he's still leading this team. He has the disc now. Isadullah streaks across the front of the end zone, brings it in. And Chevron are streaking away.
I think the PELT O-line in 6s and 7s so far in this opening quarter of the game haven't found their rhythm. And I don't think Chevron have turned over yet. 5 points in, which is great from them. There's been a lot of pressure on them, but they're just soaking it up like a big sponge.
Yeah, that's a clean sheet when it comes to turnovers. And you wonder how long that'll last, but at the moment, they're holding firm. See down on the line, the Chevron guys listening to Matt Bevan talk to them about what he wants to see in this next point. Star-studded career Bevan's had. Imagine this might be his last Worlds as a key player for any of the teams. Probably not young enough to hold his own in the GB side anymore.
I think he's going to get boosted up to Masters. Do you think they're going to kick him up, so to speak?
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't like to predict. PELT now, working it nicely. Again, we see Chevron switching out of a zone look to begin with. Now space now up the line from PELT, floating it into the end zone, reading it and grabbing it. And Ben Noonan, no mistakes there. Just accelerated enough to catch it one-handed.
Yeah, Padraig Sweeney getting his 4th assist of the tournament. Got 3 in that early game against double wide. And he's very much the talisman of this PELT O-line, so good to see him take control there. And we see again Chevron coming out with a zone look for the first few passes. And I think that's what PELT need to do. Move it quickly and don't give them the opportunity to transition. And that's what they did there. PELT moved it fast down the sideline, and Chevron were never able to recover into that transition.
And we'll be back with more from Cincinnati in just a moment.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and
across the Cincinnati skies and into the hands of Josh Keim, who feeds Joe Winder right in the center of the field. The Midlander with the headband and the powerful arm finds the gap through to Steve Colthammer. Colthammer looks for a little pop pass back to Dathan. Winder just really clogging up the space there as the PELT zone is trying to find a way of preventing Chevron moving so freely. Almost creates a turnover. Interesting, Liam, how Chevron are playing against this zone. Only 2 handlers back into the end zone and they score it. But that was different. You usually see more handlers spreading the play, but they only had 2 handlers back there, Chevron.
Yeah, they had a lot of confidence in Dathan and Keim just to keep possession, and knowing that if they got around that first cup or those first few players, that they had guys in the backfield for continuation. So once they got through the middle there, they were overloaded in the end zone, and PELT didn't really stand a chance to stop them. So it's a risky move, maybe. You know, you have to have a lot of confidence in your handlers to reset. They maybe have 3-4 PELT defenders around them, just 2 of them. But they did very well. They were comfortable. And once they broke through that middle, it was clean sailing from then on.
Yeah, it does create that real imbalance in the backfield, doesn't it? So tell us a little bit more about this PELT team, Liam, that you're so familiar with, and where they've come from, and what their origins are, and what sort of atmosphere is around this team.
It's very much a group of friends, you know. There's maybe only 30, 40 Ultimate players in the city of Limerick, and a lot of them pooling from other counties and towns, but half the PELT team probably live with each other. A lot of them work in Costa Coffee together. Would have went to University of Limerick and came second Irish Nationals last year, won it 2 years before. Didn't think they were going to get a bid to Worlds, actually, but got the phone call late. And maybe kind of come from a less well-off background in terms of Ireland anyway. Limerick is kind of seen as one of the rougher cities, but they embrace that, and you know, there's a lot of pride in this jersey.
The discussion going on the field. It's a little delay in play. Our game advisors listening into the conversation. They won't get involved unless they're asked to be, or unless it reaches 35 seconds, when they'll encourage the players to come to a decision.
It's Hannah Monty on the far sideline, the game advisor, signaling no contest. Hannah Monty actually represented Australia in Quidditch before, world champion of Quidditch. She says she's retired now, she's won world champs, she's done, focusing more on ultimate.
She's hung up a broomstick. PELT down the far sideline. Deep shot, space. Bevan coming across from Chevron. Body position, a little check, and no doubt the foul call was coming there. Patrick Sweeney.
Yeah, Patrick Sweeney there not happy. I think Bevan was very much going for body position, but was he trying to make a play on the disc, I think is the question.
Well, we'll have to have a look at this replay when it comes in, because Bevan heading straight across the line, as you can see him coming in. What did he have? Sign of Podrick?
There was definitely contact there, and I think he's very much trying to get position and box Podrick out, but did he do so illegally? Seems like he might have been leaning in with his shoulder. I'm going to try and be less biased.
Well, the two players were definitely coming from a very different angle, but I think
I can see both of their point of views, and maybe it's Ferris that goes back. I think Sweeney doesn't see Bevan and he feels something is behind them. It's kind of natural to call a foul. I think Bevan was thinking it was incidental, that he maybe had a better position.
I think that the foul call was a certainty. The outcome was not. So it's gone back. The two players not able to reach an agreement. It's going to be started again from the rear of the field. Scully looking for an option back. Finds Wesh. Huge bid. Another huge bid. This time Bevan getting fingertips to that, but has to let go. Low grab. PELT hanging on by their fingertips, but keeping everything moving. And a contact in the middle of the field. Simpson and Noonan colliding.
Yeah, I just think getting their legs tangled up there. Noonan trying to do his classic Irish jig, but it gets tripped up.
Noonan has the disc now. Back to Sweeney. Down the line to Noonan again. Oh, no, point block. Laying out, down low. Tom Martin Hall saw the risk, and I think he's injured his foot in the process. He's going to have to take a substitution. Was it his leg he's gripping? He knew as soon as he'd done it, he had to take a sub. I'm not sure if we could see what happened with that injury. It just looked like he'd leant across and got the point block, but looks like he's in a bit of pain there. He knew he'd done it as soon as he went down from the ground. He had his hands behind his head to signal an injury.
You can see that monumental pressure mounting on PELT. The last 2 or 3 passes, Chevron players right on their tail, and eventually getting that fantastic hand block.
A tap in from Dathan, and Dathan signaling to the whole team, move across, as Bevan comes to pick up. This Chevron D-line trying to make an impact on the game. Finds his way through to Morel, one of the youngest players on the team. Bevan again. Nice cutting forward from Simpson. Out to the wing to Aspen. One of the 2 Aspen brothers on the team. Morel again. Across to Dathan. Dathan trying to find something forward. Anything forward. Eventually disc comes back to Carver. Dathan has it again with the reset. Very structured offense here from Chevron. Looking for anything on the inside, but eventually it's Morel who unblocks the pressure, and he collects the disc from Matt Bevan. More from Pelt and Chevron after this.
If you want to be a high performer, eat like one. Start with a balanced diet and drink plenty of water. Good nutrition is one of the best ways to boost your mental and your physical health.
Welcome back to Cincinnati. Tom Stiles and Liam Grant watching the Battle of the Irish Sea. Chevron Action Flash versus Pelt. And Liam, a bit of a game so far, but Pelt are really struggling right now.
Yeah, as I said before, Chevron's sometimes the bogey team for Pelt. Yet to get a win against them in their career. And we just saw there, young man Ethan Morrell, 17 years old, scoring a break for Chevron. So their tails are up, they're happy. Pelt find themselves 4 points behind. Gonna have to dig deep and muster up some courage if they want to get back into this one, because that Chevron O-line looks flawless so far.
I believe Ethan Morrell's actually one of Matt Bevan's students at his school, plays with Flux, the team from the school, and obviously impressed Bevan enough to get the call up to the big side, make the journey across to the USA. Chevron have been consistently the second best team in the UK for years and years and years. And that's, I know Clapham they'll always live in Clapham's shadow, but to have that consistency, to stay second, and other teams have challenged them, but Chevron are still there after all these years. I think that's quite impressive. And they do compete with Clapham, but they don't beat them very often.
I think two big challenges for them to continue doing that is Ranelagh Pelt will be in UK Nationals this year. So that's two other teams that are going to be competing for a space in the finals.
Big disc going up from Pelt, pressure underneath this one. Oh, second time around, it's fantastic layout action.
Jonah Wish with the goal there, the Pitt player. Been having a fantastic year, was the captain of one of the USA teams competing in Perth for the men's team at under 24s. Also a captain of Pitt Ultimate, who was at College Nationals this year in the US. And just last week he was playing with Pittsburgh Temper, who made it to the final of the Pro League Challenge. So this man has been playing a lot of Ultimate this year.
Yeah, Wish his wish came true. Sorry.
It was too easy, Tom. You took the bait. It was there.
I did. Yeah, little defensive pressure from the 8 shirt of Adam Carver. Didn't get the grab the first time round, but the determination of Jonah Wish paid off. One-handed layout end zone grab. The 3rd point for Pelt.
Yeah, Jonah Wish just launched his own resource called In Your Own Hands, and it's for athlete development for college players. So very much do your own fitness training program, so you can check that out. In Your Own Hands, it's called.
Is that on the App Store, Liam?
I believe it's a physical and digital book.
Oh, amazing. You see a familiar figure of Joe Winder. I've never seen Joe Winder looking this athletic before. I think he's lost a little bit of the timber he was carrying around in previous years, looking really svelte and powerful, and still got those throws as well.
I think that Chevron jersey is quite slimming as well, you know. It's very nice. Very nice jersey. Been around the blocks quite a while. They ain't changing it.
Kime with the disc now. Keim sends it. Oh, this is perfection from Keim. Look at that disc arcing across the sky. Beautifully picking out the 7 shirt of Ben Barak. What a disc, Liam.
Yeah, John Dock caught out there. Often he tries to bait the deep shot, and that is often a bad idea against the Chevron team. They wait around for no one. They'll pick you apart in the end zone. Beautiful shot, and their offense is clicking right now.
You see the difference here. Look at this replay again. It was a really bladey throw, up and down over the defender. No one's going to catch that apart from the target man. And the spread of scores across this Chevron Action Flash line, the only person that's got more than one either score or assist is Josh Keim.
Yeah, really using their whole roster. A very balanced team. And yeah, PELT don't have an answer for this Chevron O-line. Yet to even get a turn off them, I think.
Well, yeah, Chevron have not been turned over in the first 10 points of the game, which is mightily impressive considering the pressure that PELT have been putting them under.
Yeah, there are definitely no slouches on defense.
Bashing the disc to the floor, giving it to Sweeney. 1 point away from half if Chevron can turn this as they come out with a zone. 5 men in front of the disc. And now they transition. High arcing flight. Isadoulis reading this one and takes it out of the sky. Ahead of the PELT offensive player. Cartwright now on the wing. Down the line to Simpson. Simpson looks down the line to Jake Aspen was there, but now it goes back to Penny. One of the leaders of the Chevron team. In the hands of Cartwright again. Deck Cartwright, his brother Tom Cartwright, or TC as he's better known, plays with Clapham.
Pick called. Quite a lot of players on this near sideline.
Cartwright. Oh, and another pick called. Quickly bumping into each other there. Cartwright. Hodgett. Hodgett across to Penny. Lovely cut from Aspen. Now down the line to Hodgett. Lovely play from Chevron. And Cartwright's disc across the field. Confidence, calmness from this D-line offense. They're going to take their time. They're going to work it in. Hodgett out to Simpson. Looking deep. Isadoulis coming on the inside lane again, having got that grab to get the possession in the first place. Penny available, but in the backfield. PELT working really hard to stop that swing across to the other side. Down the line. Cartwright. The shout of keep working comes from Chevron and from PELT. Both teams desperate to keep this, keep the disc moving and stop them from scoring. That was an impressive bit of play there, Liam.
Such high intensity, isn't it? They're really running super hard, and the decision making from Chevron is so good. Very patient. First option shutdown, that's fine. I trust my teammates will get free from me, and they call a timeout. That's a good call. It's an opportunity for them to break for half. They're outside the end zone.
A real intensity in this game as we run up towards the half-time point. The first team to get 8 points on the clock. On the scoreboard will take us to half. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant, an Englishman and an Irishman commentating on an English and Irish team here in the first round. Well, it's the first round for Chevron, isn't it? It's the second round for PELT, having already played double wide this morning. 15-10 for them. And we'll be back with more from Cincinnati in just a moment.
There is a place where we are us at our best. A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
And even defy gravity.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just...
Mark Penny, middle of the field after that timeout and a mistake, a handling error, the first one.
No, they're still infallible. It's coming back for a foul. That one a bit harsh. It definitely made it to his hand, in which case it bounced out of it, so a bit unlucky for a pelt.
Did you see the contact there between it's Penny on the disc and Robert Swan?
Definitely an uncontested foul, so it did look so, but I still think it reached its intended target as the unfortunate.
Yeah, it was definitely also a drop, wasn't it? Chevron with Aspen having to go backwards to Hodgett. Cutting left and right across the far side of the field. Isadullah using that and milking it into the space, into the front of the end zone. Cartwright using the legs to get free into the front corner. And all that patience pays off. They're still clean. They're taking the half, 8-3. Chevron on top in this one.
Isadullah getting the D and then getting the assist. Maybe 5-10 minutes later. It was such a long point that they had to grind out, but he's having a great game so far. You know, football's not coming home, but maybe Ultimate is, Tom.
Well, you just see the pattern of this game, Liam. It's uncanny. It's gone a hold for Chevron, a break for Chevron, a score for Pelt. A hold for Chevron, a break for Chevron, a score for Pelt. A hold for Chevron, a break for Chevron, a score for Pelt. A hold for Chevron, a break for Chevron. It's unbelievable. The rhythm of this game has got really hard. There's only been 4 turnovers. They've all been from Pelt, and they've all returned a 1 point for Chevron. I mean, incredible action out here in Cincinnati, and we'll be back with more from this exciting game between Chevron and Pelt after these messages. Welcome back to the Lebanon Sports Complex, just north of Cincinnati in Ohio, USA. It's the WFDF 2018 World Ultimate Club Championships. Myself, Tom Stiles, with Liam Grant, watching this opening round game. It's an opening round game for Chevron. It's the second game for Pelt. And 8-3 is the score. Chevron taking this one quite easily so far, Liam.
Yeah, they've been playing fantastic. A team, when their tail's up and they have confidence, they excel, they do really well. And then they can also be the opposite sometimes. I remember I watched the Windmill 3-4 game just a few weeks ago. They were playing against Ragnarok. It went to Universe Point, and Joe Winder was taking the pull, and he stands at one corner of his own end zone to take the pull and pulls it straight out of bounds. Never comes back in. Ragnarok come up, take it on the front corner, and one pass goal. They lose that game. And that's kind of what Chevron can be like. We're seeing the other side now, which is them flawless, not having a turnover in the first half, which is exceptional.
You see some of the highlights of that first half, Liam. It's been real action-packed show. High grabs, both teams putting up really big pressure. Chevron dealing with it so much better.
Yeah, while the scoreline isn't that close right now, I think there's been some amazing plays, and these two, oh, what an amazing layout point block we saw earlier, and that's just the pressure that Chevron have brought to this game.
Yeah, it was Tom Martin Hall with that point block, but he did hurt his hand, hurt his leg in the process. Now, what are PELT going to be talking about in this halftime break? You know these guys. You know how they psych themselves up. What are they going to be doing now to see if they can pull back, get some breaks against the Chevron side in the second half?
Well, I can see them chatting on the sideline now, and I think it's mostly they want to focus on their O-line. I can see them. They want to be able to bang in their O points. They haven't settled their offense. We've actually seen them change players quite a lot. Unfortunately, only really half the PELT roster here, particularly a lot of the O-line cutters, so I think they're struggling to adjust to that. Their defense, I think, I don't know if they change a huge amount. Like, they're close to their Chevron players, and sometimes when you have a top-level team like Chevron, if they're making the right decisions and playing well, you can't stop a good team when their offense is clicking. Like,
yeah,
as good as you are, it's a sport that favors the offense for the most part, and they're just playing exceptionally well. I don't think they'll be too unhappy with their defense. I'd like to see them throw that zone out again a bit more. Haven't really had the opportunity coming out on offense quite a lot, but I think that zone might work a little better.
So an exciting second half lined up. Can Chevron move further away, or can PELT bring it back? We'll find out more in a moment.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
No kid should have an overuse injury. Limit young ones to one sport per season, save sport specialization for later, and cross-train with your kids. Parents and kids will both benefit.
Players and fans sheltering where they can from the heat of the Ohio midday. It's been very warm down here. How's your fair skin and ginger hair faring, Liam?
Yeah, I'm getting a great Peter Pan tan right now. Contrary to belief, I'm a man who excels in the sun, as does the PELT team. So I think they wanted to be hotter, is what they're saying. Wanted more heat, more sun, lathering up some baby oil, and getting ready to burn the Chevron team.
The temperature yesterday was ridiculously hot coming into that opening game in the Atrium Arena at Mason High School. Groton Wildcard facing off in that first game. The heat was so intense, especially down on the field. That rubber crumb surface just seems to absorb the heat and then create such a little thermals coming off it everywhere. It was very intense down there. Today is a little bit more overcast. I think everybody's grateful for not having quite so much of the direct sunshine to have to worry about. The Chevron team are certainly favouring the conditions.
Yeah, maybe the white jersey's helping just a little bit. A bit more lighter, airy, breezier. But I think this is Chevron's year to really step it up at this World Ultimate Club Championships. I believe finished 17th or so at Lecco 4 years ago. And I've always thought of them as second, third best team in Europe. Not just the second best in the UK, but often find themselves getting tripped up at the final hurdle. But these are a great, great outfit. And having played against them, I think they're the toughest team to play against. Generally, PELT put up a closer scoreline to Clapham, and it's a team we actually favour playing over Chevron. And yeah, whatever it is, it seems to be, as I said before, the bogey team. I think maybe Chevron's offensive style, they like playing against PELT, so we don't We don't like playing against them, and they like playing against us. This is maybe a typical scoreline for a first half, but PELT definitely a second half team, so I expect them to get stuck back into this one.
Well, the whistles from our game advisors signalling the start of the second half. This World Flying Disc Federation tournament being played with game advisors. Not everywhere, but enough of the fields do have game advisors, and all the show fields have got 2 game advisors. Game advisors, not observers, they're not making any active calls. They will only either echo the call that's being made by the players on the field. The only call that they make of their own volition is an offside call, and that's not binding. The players don't have to take that offside call, but they generally do. Wish. Back to Sweeney. PELT in the green shirts, facing off against this zone look from Chevron again. The Chevron D-line have shown us a variety of different strategies here. Now it looks like it's moved more towards a one-to-one markup, straight down the field, but it's drifted away, and that's another turnover straight out of the second half. The last thing PELT wanted was to give the disc back. Real pressure, Liam.
Yeah, Noonan's second turnover on that sideline. Got hand blocked earlier, as we saw, that amazing layout hand block. And then that one, Darren Scully, the captain, was open going to the end zone, but just drifted out of bounds. The wind pushing towards that far sideline, so he needed to put a bit more outside in to carry it back in bounds. But you can see he was biting his shirt there a minute ago and happy with how he's played so far in this game.
Aspen. The D-line offense from Chevron that was so patient just before the half. Bevan, there's a little bit of a jogged cut from Bevan. Managed to find its way to Hodgett. The cut from Dixon is going to be sought with this big disc, but it drifts the outside edge too low. The wind, what little wind there is, catches it and takes it outside. Dixon had made a really strong bid deep there. It would have been right on for the score if the disc had made it there, Liam.
Turns out Chevron are human. That's their first turn of the game, I do believe. So PELT will be happy to finally get one back.
It's quite remarkable, isn't it, to be... this is the 12th point of the game, and it's their first turnover. We're pretty happy. Oh, managing to get the block with the back of the arm. Following it up, Seb Allen. Fortuitous block, but he'll take it. Tom Martin Hall back on the field, having taken a substitution earlier in the game after that point block. Seb Allen back to Martin Hall. Down low to Steve Dixon. Dixon looking for Dula. Tom Martin Hall making himself available. One more time. Aspen. It's a great cut from Aspen. Real strong, powerful, committed cut into the end zone. No doubt about it. Seb Allen rises. Gratefully takes the disc from the sky. 9-3.
Bookends for Seb Allen with that psychic no-look defense. You could see where the pass is coming. Those backwards to the disc. He just waved his arms around like a wacky inflatable tube man and gets a paw to it, and he'd be delighted with that. And that's just what PELT didn't need coming out on offense in second half. And I think the lads look a little tired. You know, a small roster, really 16 or so players compared to Chevron's, I think, 23. And they played a game earlier against the top side, double wide. So, yeah, struggling this PELT side. You can see top to bottom, the Chevron roster is fantastic. Everyone nearly getting on the scoreboard. Nobody with more than 2 or 3 goals or assists. They're using every single player.
It's quite a remarkable distribution, isn't it? Right across the team. Josh Kime with 3 assists and Seb Allen with 2 scores. And then Isa Dula has got 1 assist, 1 score. Ben Barak's got 2 scores. But apart from that, everyone's just got a 1 next to their name. They've contributed something. Very few players have not had an impact on the scoreboard so far. Kyle O picking up for PELT. Chevron dishing out the breaks both sides of the half. Can PELT put a stop to that now and get themselves something going? Any sort of momentum for the men in green would be very much appreciated right now. Oh, across to Whistle. Kyle O makes the pass and quick cut down the line. He's got it back now. Good movement from PELT across the back line. Not making forward progress though. They can have that same sort of movement. Floaty, flittery flick. It's going deep. Pressure from Chevron coming in. And just, I'll have that, says Ben Barak.
Ben Barak climbing into the sky. John Dock hadn't even left the ground. And that was an incredible vertical leap.
He's really a great target going deep, but just proving how effective he can be in the defensive role as well. He's free as well. I don't know quite where Mark Fanning is following him around. He's going to have to follow him deep again now. Oh no, he's back again. Barak having made that big block. High grab in the end zone. Now looking for options down the line. PELT doing well to clog that lane.
And a stall out being called by Mark Fanning. And you can see Mark likes to push people under, then try to put on a big force. He's 6'8", I believe, and got quite the wingspan. He's like a big condor with the feathers cut off. And it's a little heated discussion maybe about whether it was a stall out or not.
Yeah, Ben Barak is a very tall, 6'3", but he's made to look very normal size standing next to Mark Fanning. Barak, 25-year-old from Exeter. He's been playing for 12 years. One of the Air Badgers, the very famous school ultimate club set up by Paul Ruff. And so many of the top flight players in Great Britain Ultimate have come out of the various different school programs, but Air Badgers has dominated the school league.
Yeah, in contrast, pretty much all the PELT players starting in university, and that's very much the trend at the moment in Ireland. But as we're seeing more schools getting involved, and the late hook comes up.
It's already been called as a stall out the other end. It's a stall out. It's a stall out. I think uncontested by Barak this time. And Barak did put down 4 good years for Devon Ultimate as well, who were also here at the 2018 World Ultimate Club Championships.
And looks like they're going to chat about it again. Will Fanning get the stall out on the second attempt, and this one looking like it's uncontested.
The second turnover of the game for Chevron. This time pressure from Fanning's big block.
So Mark Fanning will tap the disc on the ground, and that will make the disc live.
You think he's going to pick it up? No, he's just going to run over it. Tad Whistle picking it up, the 71 shirt. One of the Pittsburgh imports, 32-year-old from Pittsburgh. And right across the field, oh, there's a call on the middle of the play.
Looked like a great continuation cut to the break side, yeah. Tad Whistle, well known for his podcasts in the field, has come over to play in Limerick quite a lot. Usually comes over for the tournament Siege of Limerick and plays with PELT. And has been playing on the D-line this tournament so far. And you can see this is pretty much a D-line that came out in offense for PELT. Their O-line maybe a bit tired, struggling a bit, and sent some of the D-line players out there. Looked like Barry Walsh was going to get his second goal. I think they're debating whether he could make a play on the disc, but it's going to go back to Tad.
Whistle. In the middle of the field. Cuts coming left and right. Goes across to Kyle O. Oh, there was such an open play on that break side. If you could just get the disc out there. Slight hesitation, wanting to guard this disc. Oh, that was really clever play. And a pick had been called anyway. Quick, Barry Walsh there, throwing the low hand, sidearm fake, pulling Mark Penny out of the way, and then quickly whipping the hand across. It's a shame the defender wasn't live. Sorry, the guy in the end zone wasn't live. Kyle O has the disc now. Chevron defense light on their feet. Pelt options running low. A throw into space is picked off by Matt Aspen. And the team in white have it again. Not quite realised they're in possession at the moment. Penny calling the troops to order from the backfield. Fluttery from Morrell. Gets the disc back himself, running down the line. Had to be careful with the feet there, Williams. Brings it back inside the line. Kieran Hudson checking where he was. And the throw is wayward. Hudson picks up. Sorry, yeah. Hudson picks up. Now the disc's across with Tinkler. Such a simple disc to catch straight in the middle of Barry Walsh's chest. He's made a bit of a mess of that one. Finishes on the floor.
Yeah, he's been working so hard at this point, cutting relentlessly, and yeah, ended up taking his eye off that one. That's an unfortunate drop. He's been having a good game so far, and Chevron doing the clever thing and just cutting a timeout straight away. Both teams looking quite tired in that point.
I think it's the heat, Liam. I mean, the heat is pretty relentless. We're just sitting at the side of the field, and we're staying hydrated and we're relaxed. And it's tiring. Just being outside and being this hot for this long is hard work. What these guys down on the field must be feeling like is beyond me. So a timeout here. It's 9-3. Chevron with one break out of the half and a really slow point. Pelt pulling themselves back into this game maybe. But they've got a lot of work to do. 6 points adrift.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen 3 turnovers in 1 point in this game. Not as crisp as the other points that led up to this, but that's why Chevron calling a timeout, getting the ice cooler on the field, getting rehydrated, trying to cool down. A few little towels and neckies in the cooler as well. And Pelt cannot afford to go 10-3 down.
It's interesting how few points the Chevron O-line have actually played here and how quickly they've been on and off the field. It must be quite difficult to stay sort of focused on the game when, you know, you can see half the Chevron line down to our right waiting to come on the field. Maximum amount of time they've spent on this pitch is 8 minutes out of the game so far. The rest of the time it's been the Chevron D-line putting more pressure on.
Yeah, I think a few of them have crossed over. Barak and Williams, definitely 2 men you would see on the O-line for Chevron as well. So
Carver. Back to Penny. Got Morrell available on the far side if he needs him. Uses that option now. It's with Aspen. Now back to Penny. Penny down the line. Barak available. Back to Penny. Or just had a quick glimpse into the toolbox, see if he could reach in and find the hammer. Decides to go more sensible. Seen very few overheads in this game so far. All been quite conventional with the throws. Penny slices that one forward to Aspen. Steady, steady, steady stuff. Mark Simpson finishing off. Quality play, steady, confident, assertive offense. And we'll be back with Liam Grant's analysis of that point and more from Chevron and Pelt after this.
Do you want to avoid overuse injuries? Cross-train. Get your exercise routine out of a routine and mix it up with a variety of activities. Your muscles, tendons, and joints will thank you later.
Oh, this is turning into a bit of a one-sided game so far. Straight out of the half, we've had 2 Chevron breaks. PELT on the wrong end of a 10-3 scoreline. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant watching this one. And Liam, what are PELT going to have to do now? Or have they given up on the rest of this game?
Yeah, that last point was pretty heartbreaking for them. They'd thrown into the end zone twice and thought they'd scored and went back for picks. Ended up turning over and losing the point. But it's just a mental thing, and I think maybe it's the heat. Need to maybe we start bringing some other players onto the O-line and keep legs fresh. With just 16 or so players, they can't afford to keep the same guys out there.
Bevan laid himself horizontal, got nowhere near the disc, but provided a massive visual distraction right in the eye line of Dave Smith. Smith makes a mess of the catch as a result. Mental D, Liam, you going to give him that block?
Yeah, definitely flying Matt Bevan across your face would put a lot more pressure on him. But again, I think you can see there's some sweaty Irishmen out there that don't look fully focused.
Big disc going up into the end zone. Watch the feet at the back. It just keeps it inside. Seb Allen with his 3rd point of this game. Great streaking from the 72 shirts. And watching at the feet very carefully. 11-3 the score.
Yeah, they're unstoppable right now, Chevron. And PELT heads are down. They're trying to recoup, trying to bring some fun back into the game. But the last 2 turnovers, just quite simple drops.
See that deep shot again. Seb Allen. Yeah, no doubt about it. He knew where the back line was. He'd had a quick look as he was approaching. Knew he could get the grab without having to toe the line. It's a dominant performance. Chevron completely clean in the first half. No turnovers. They've scored. They only let PELT have 3 points. In the second half, they've let them have none. They have been a little bit less assertive with the disc. They've let PELT have the disc back a couple of times. PELT have taken it off them, but they've still put in those defensive points. 3 breaks in a row out of the half.
Yeah, I know. Playing a perfect half, the first half, Chevron, but to play a perfect game is a big ask. But now we see, Snowden's not coming home, football's not coming home, but can Ultimate come home, Tom? Do you think a British team in any of the divisions could come home with a medal, gold, silver or bronze?
I think top 8, certainly. I think we'd love to see a few of these teams. Oh, an offside call, first of the game. Offside signalled by the game advisor. That's been mirrored by PELT. Quite late on the signal. The game advisors do ask that the signal goes up quite quickly. But Chevron are going to be sent back down to try this again. The game advisor stands right on the line. All the players have to be inside their own end zone when the disc is released. And obviously at that point someone had crossed over, got themselves an unfair advantage. They've been sent back to try again. I mean, obviously Clapham made it to quarterfinals and almost beat the eventual winners Revolver in an incredible quarterfinal back in Lecco. Can they do it again this year? Or can any of the other Great Britain teams do it again this year? I don't know. I think Chevron have got a good shout as anybody. If they have their perfect week, if they play to their potential, they can definitely threaten those top 8 spots. But it's PELT now, putting together a really nice looking offensive point. Back to Whistle. Spreading the play across to Sweeney. Sweeney to Wish. Oh, Wish just opens up the little knife draw. Throws that one arcing over the top into the end zone. Nice point from PELT.
Yeah, Jonah Wish and Podge Sweeney controlling that point, and that's what they need. They're probably the 2 best players with the disc in hand, and run their offense through those 2 boys, and they're going to do a lot better than they have been doing so far.
Yeah, clean offensive point. It's difficult to see a way back into this game unless they can start getting turnovers off the Chevron O-line. Well, this is only the 5th point the O-line from Chevron will have played. Get a chance to have a look how it's shaping up. It's looked impressive so far, really clinical. The D-line have done all the work today for Chevron.
Yeah, every time the D-line has got to this for Chevron, they've converted it. So
they got 100% perfect 100% conversions. That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Unable to get it in on the second asking. Even if the PELT O-line did get it back, they haven't been able to score in the second time. So PELT only having perfect O points or not at all.
Sideline for PELT is a little bit more active than it has been in previous points. They've got a zone look here. Not marking player for player. That disc is going high, but safely caught by Barak, who spins it right across the other side of the field. Turner underneath it. Can't quite get a hand up. And now, the first time that Chevron's O-line have been turned over. Maybe a little casual with that throw, but big bid coming from Walsh. He's got the attentions of Rolo Sachs-Dixon to worry about, and Sachs-Dixon makes light work of taking that down.
Yeah, one of the best deep receivers in Europe, and not a man you want to float it over if you're playing offense.
Cornelius to Keim. Keim got Cornelius available still at the back. Back across to Winder. Casual from Cornelius there. He's got the disc again now. Hammer over the top. Disc down from Barak. Did look down, no question about him claiming he'd kept that one alive.
Yeah, I think a hole in his bread basket there. It went into his arms and shot out the other side.
PELT with 2 chances on the defense. Barry Walsh. Kyle O. Sweeney. They're close now. Can they put it in? Oh, they can. And PELT have got the first break of the game, scoring against the otherwise splendid performance from the Chevron O-line. They'll be going back out here, seeing if they can rescue this bit of pride after PELT played really well on the defense there, and Chevron was just a little bit lackluster.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too little too late from PELT. Barry Walsh getting his second goal. Yeah, they looked a bit better there, PELT, but perhaps just Chevron taking the foot off the gas a tiny bit, knowing that they have some separation. Timeout called, so obviously they were unhappy, I think, Chevron, how they played offense at that point. Some risky hammers there that maybe were unnecessary. But I'd like to see more of that PELT zone.
And the wind has just got up a little bit. Maybe that'll be something that plays into account. The hammer that created that turnover, it was not a good option, was it?
No, it was not a good option. And a player that maybe has license to do that is Joe Winder, but I think everyone else has their license taken off them, you know. There's opportunities to reset and just work small ball against that zone. That they should probably do that and let the people like Joe Winder try those overheads, because with this wind picked up a small bit now, there is reset, so they don't have to force anything. That was just a little too rushed.
Maybe PELT's change of defense got into the heads a little bit. They've not seen this zone look come out before. And the Irishmen, the body language has changed from the men in green, Liam. They're looking like they're competing again.
Yeah, just kind of settled into the game a bit more. I think if they want to get back into this game, the zone is the key, right? So PELT haven't got to win against Chevron, but the Irish under-24 team did get a win against them at Tour last year, and in the whole entire game, they played that zone, the exact same zone as well. A lot of PELT players representing Ireland at the under-24 level, so I would really like to see them doing that zone again, and that can sometimes be a key to unlocking this Chevron offense.
So just talk us through the zone. What can we expect to see if they're going to throw it again here? What's the look? Where are they trying to create pressure and space, and where are they trying to take it away?
Yeah, they call it their FSU. I'm not going to say what that stands for, but it's very much a forced middle. So you got a 3-3-1. The top three are always forcing infield to a mid, or they call Rove, who's usually a tall, big player, and allows the wings to kind of pinch in as well with that forced middle. And very much trying to make them throw over them. So forcing middle, no hooks down the sidelines. There's someone in the lane that if you're going to throw a hook, it has to go over them. And it allows, you'll see Mark Fanning there on the force, who, for a tall player, doesn't usually always go deep or act on deep defenders. He likes to be on the mark. That's where he's best at, is putting on a force. He's got those big spaghetti arms that are going to put a lot of people under pressure.
Just as we said that, have they gone for a... No, it definitely is the zone again, isn't it? Exactly as you called it. But there you go, Winder. Exactly as you called it again, Liam. There's Winder with the hammer. Doug Ollie now. Back to Keim. Through to Winder. Taking his time, not rushing it. The zone's still in place. Colt Hammer lurks. Colt Hammer takes. Winder with the hammer. It's like you've got predictive powers, Liam.
Yeah, I think I know these teams a little too well sometimes, yeah. But as you see there, Chevron did very well to stretch the deep and have someone stand shallow in the mid, leaving a lot of space in the middle of the field. They set that up for Colt Hammer to go stand in the middle, wait for Winder to get it, hit that hammer, and then again, some small ball, get it to Winder and let him throw the hammer, because, you know, he's like the Jonathan Nethercutt of European Ultimate. He has those throws. For a lot of people, those big hammers, scoobers, full field hooks aren't high percentage throws, and it's not something you want to do. But for someone like Winder, it kind of is. It's kind of his bread and butter. He'll throw those all day. So a vital weapon for this Chevron team that they haven't had in years before. Joe Winder playing with Emo in the past, and a lot of people would have heard his name at under 23s in London, Tom.
Oh, he was a stat monster in under 23s in London. But some people referred to that mixed team as the Joe Winder team because his numbers were so far ahead of almost everyone in the entire division. It was really quite impressive. He had played with Chevron in his first couple of years as a player. Again, former pupil of Matt Bevan. Before the days of Flux, introduced a young Joe Winder to the sport. He is such a powerful offensive handler for Emo. See him back playing at his best for Chevron this year is a real treat for everybody. Kyle O. PELT in green, advancing. 7 points they trail. Chevron looking at their own zone now. The wind starts to gust a little. The relief it's providing from the heat is very much welcome here in the commentary tower. Wish to O. Back to Wish, hops forward. The Pittsburgh import. Down across to Noonan. Aspen taking away the options. Kyle O floats it into space. You just see Adam Carver looking like he was going to make a big high bid, but body position was spot on. Kyle O at the front of the end zone couldn't quite milk it in. This is calm handling from PELT. The movement is smooth. Can they put it in? Oh, they can. And a call on the field.
Looked like Kyle O had several opportunities to milk one into the end zone there. I don't think he realized how free he was and just kind of standing still in the handler position when I'm sure the PELT sideline were like, milk it, you know? Like a nice Irish dairy cow. He could have milked that one a little better.
A couple more steps back, he would have been in the zone, exactly like Liam said. And a foul call. And it's a point. It's been retracted, which is excellent to see when the conversation can happen and people can retract a call which they've then had time to consider.
So the margin tightening slightly, but you know, Chevron just 3 points away from taking this game, and you feel like, okay, now PELT have got one break, but they need to get a lot more. They need to go on a run. Looks like they might be able to do that with that zone, but very quickly Chevron called the timeout, came up with a strategy to beat it, and now you feel like that isn't such a good option anymore.
It's going to be, I mean, this team is so experienced. They've played at all sorts of world and European levels. They're experienced in playing against all of the best teams in Great Britain. They can adapt. They've got experience, the likes of Mark Penny and Matt Bevan, Will Cornelius. So I have to check Will Cornelius's data, but I think he's one of the oldest members of this team. You didn't fill in a survey. How about that, eh? But they have the experience to adapt. They see a new strategy and they can adapt. Is this disc going to stay in? It is just, what an amazing pull that is. Deep, right on the sideline. Dathan and Winder under a little bit of pressure early doors in this point. Noonan with the hands low. Canning comes to apply the pressure as well, but Chevron work their way out of the end zone. Cornelius combining with Dathan and Winder now. Noonan taking that pressure away. It's good positioning here. Managed to find a space through to Barak. Back to Dathan. Keeping their cool here, Chevron. They're under some pressure. A cleverly constructed PELT zone, causing them to think a little bit more. But now they've got it moving. Doug Ollie combining with Ben Barak. Barak back to Winder. Deep of the disc. Cornelius and Williams lurk, but it's all about the handlers at the moment. Clever little gap to Dathan. Back to Dathan again. Winder. The PELT zone is effective and it's forcing Chevron to think hard about their throws, forcing them back. That position of Cornelius opened up the gap to find Barak through there. It was really clever stuff, overloading the handler position, creating the space downfield. Exactly the opposite of what they did earlier in the game, where they overloaded the deep part of the field. Low disc from Cornelius, not the ideal shot, but picked off the turf from Barak. Cornelius, still the pressure. Winder now. Dathan's available. Finds the gap to Barak. He's lurked beautifully, looking for the spaces. Always available. Anytime a gap opens up in this PELT Cup, who's standing the far side of it? It's Ben Barak. Now he's available in the handler position. Back to Dathan. Winder. Back to Dathan again. Clocking up the points, the pass tally here. The team in white, happy to keep moving. Tired Irish legs in green shirts. PELT weary after running around and chasing. Mark Canning, unbelievably, still stumbles forward. And eventually all of the hard work from PELT pays off. A rush of blood to the head. The disc across the field is not good. And PELT have it with Hudson. Downfield quickly to Walsh. Barry Walsh looking for an option deep. Finds Sweeney. Cut available, didn't take it. Wants to be sure of this one. Back to Walsh again, swings across to O. O forward to Canning. To Fannings, who's done so much work. Into the end zone, and PELT have worked a miracle there. Absolutely brilliant defense. They kept plugging away with the zone, eventually caused Chevron to throw it away and then worked the full length of the pitch to calmly put it in. Liam, you must be so proud.
Yeah, that's more like the boys in green we're used to seeing. That was great work in the zone. They adjusted to try and watch Winder with those hammers, and they got the D off it. Cron Hudson coming across there, and Barry Walsh getting his third goal of the game. Did very well after that to actually keep their patience. I'm sure a lot of the players on that PELT D-line were wrecked from chasing around the front, so they did well to keep it patient, not try and rush things. And yeah, Walsh did fantastic to get open on the open side.
Well, if they can just keep doing that, can they? You know, that was exhausting. I was exhausted just watching up here. The sort of level of energy sapping, chasing that disc around from side to side. Chevron just kept it moving. Really effective play from the O-line. And if the Chevron are going to go a long way in the tournament, they need to be able to hold their nerve even after a long point, even after 50 passes. They can't afford to throw it away, because that's why teams like this are playing a zone. They'll just tire you out, and they'll make you think there's a space when there isn't one, and then they'll close you down and score at the other end. It's brilliant play from PELT, richly deserved break. Can they go down and do the same again, or have they got the legs to do it?
I think it's the first time that PELT have really had momentum in this game as well. So if they're going to do it, they got to do it now. A somewhat fresh zone out there. Barry Walsh still staying out there in the mid. No more Mark Fanning in the middle, though.
Oh, he worked really hard in that previous point. Really hard. Oh, Kime. Oh, I do enjoy Josh Kime's overhead. Well, there's a knifey blade down the field. Dathan cuts to the front corner. Back to Kime. More than once he's opened up the field with a pinpoint accurate 40-yard blade. Ollie. Back to Kime. Kime to Winder. Winder looks around and then drops the shoulder. Rising disc into the hands of Doug Ollie. Impressive display from Chevron. And they're closing in on closing this game out, Liam.
Yeah, that zone not as effective. I think the reason why is on that D-line they actually had a few pickups who wouldn't be as familiar with playing it. To the well-matured PELT player, you have that drilled into. You know the exact roles and you know what to do if they try and flood for that hammer overhead. And I think maybe Tad Whistle maybe caught out there in the wing, wouldn't be as used to that position. And yeah, stay tuned for more action as PELT try to bring this one back.
Heat illness strikes kids and adults alike during summer workouts. Watch for muscle cramps, fever, nausea, headache, weakness, or feeling faint. Act fast to get cool and get fluids.
Chevron await. PELT receiving. It's 13-7 here in Cincinnati. The opening game for Chevron, the second game for PELT here in the pool. A really exciting pool it is as well. But PELT have sent a deep shot up there, tracing down. Oh, it's all the way into the hands. Brilliant work.
Dylan Best there with the goal, the pick connection. Jonah Wish to Dylan Best. Two players that know each other incredibly well. Both played for Pitt at this year's College Nationals, getting a silver medal, and also play with Pittsburgh Temper. Two really close friends that have joined the PELT team, and a good Pitt-PELT connection. Any pickups we've usually gotten, we go to Pitt Ultimate. In the past, Marcus Rainey, Dropchow, Tyler Kunza played with us, so it's kind of a little bond there, you know, town twinning, if you will, between Limerick and Pittsburgh.
Well, they've added admirably to this lineup. Back within 5 now. The Irish team, they've had 2 breaks from Chevron in the second half, but Chevron going into the half on a break and taking 3 breaks out of the half leave themselves with a nice advantage. And again, the distribution of contributions across the Chevron line, really quite impressive. Almost everybody is now on the Chevron line has actually thrown an assist or a score. And the ones that haven't, they're actually the players that have spent the most time with their disc in the hand. So players like Dom Dathan, Will Cornelius, Mark Penny. Dathan with the disc now spent a massive amount of time with disc in hand, but he's not throwing the assists. That's not his role on this team, is it? It's open up the opportunities for the others, get himself free. Again, we see this zone. And if there we go, Kime with the shot. Watch the feet. Oh, beautifully done. Williams watching it all the way down. And Kime's distribution with the forehand flick and the backhand arcing beautifully into the side of the end zone has been delightful. Chevron within one of taking this game.
Yeah, Podge Sweeney, the deep in that zone, left the front door wide open. Was very much baiting a deep shot and got caught rotten there. I think maybe a bit of confusion as well with the wing in the zone because he was in acres of space. There was no one close to him.
Josh Kime's 4th assist of this game. He's been really, really impressive. The discs from him don't seem to float. They go up and they come down, and they come down on a spot, and usually there's a Chevron player underneath it. Having a great game. Do you wonder why PELT didn't start playing this zone defense earlier in the game, Liam? Because it really has seemed to slow down Chevron, and it actually created them some blocks as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's against the PELT ethos. They like to think that, no, we play honest defense, we grind hard, and we shut people down, and that's kind of their ethos, which works against every other team in Europe quite well except Chevron. So they find it hard to shake off that. Actually, speaking to them beforehand, I asked them, are they going to play zone straight away? Me thinking it would work quite well, and they're like, no, we're going to do what we usually do. We're going to play the style we want to, but now adjusting in the second half, but perhaps too late.
Whistle. Down the line to Wish. Wish again. Knocking on the door, back to Whistle. Whistle across to O. Noonan available into the end zone, catching high. Robert Swan.
But a pick has been called. You can see all the Chevron players didn't even chase it down. That's a couple of times now. PELT have got outside the end zone, looked like they scored, but a pick is called, and I think sometimes they just need to leave more space that those throws are on, and the picks are costing them goal opportunities.
Open up the stack a little bit. Noonan with the disc now. Back around to Wish. Jonah Wish. Floaty disc across the top. Beautifully weighted into the hands of Dylan Best. Wish again. Back to Best. Across to Kyle O and Noonan. Front corner option was available, but the defense from the 8 shirt of Adam Carver closing down that, and Bevan gets a hand to it. Kyle O calls a strip. Every disc is being tightly contested by Chevron's defense. They want to get this block. And the disc is floating long, and it's floating beyond the fast-running Tad Whistle. And a turnover and a chance for Chevron to take the game.
Yeah, it looked like that was a good throw, but Whistle maybe attacking at a different angle, had to adjust. I think he might have slipped slightly as he tried to change his angle to get to that disc, and an unfortunate turn. And that's happened quite a lot where PELT looks like they've scored, it's gone back for a pick just outside the end zone, and then they don't convert it.
Disc coming in to Dixon. Dixon arcing blade into space. It was almost perfect. The fast running of Seb Allen has been a real accelerator for Chevron in this game. Swan now. Swan opens up the shoulders, spins one deep. Look at the pressure from Chevron underneath this. Rising high, but a mistimed jump thumps the floor. Steve Dixon really angry with that. Thought he'd read it perfectly, but guess who had read it perfectly was Jonah Wish in the deep. And a call on the field, or has it been conceded?
And it's a goal. Jonah Wish giving a 101 lesson on how to box out. 3 players coming down, boxes out the first, and then attacks before the second can get there. And we can see there's actually Bevan, who was calling a foul, was not involved in the play. And you can see that they're having a discussion now. Sweeney not happy, and they're having a chat now, Bevan and Darren Scully.
Well, it all seems very amiable out there. I think Sweeney had come back for a bit of afters, but He was dragged away by his teammates. Not sure what the call was. I was watching the disc. Let's have a look at the replay, see if we can see anything on here.
I think it was actually Bevan called a foul for his teammate. He was suggesting that Jonah pushed him, or you can see Jonah just actually boxed out incredibly well, making the Chevron player go up earlier than he was able to get it. And discussion continues on the sideline, but Darren Scully, the captain and was Spirit captain last year, a fantastic man for deflating situations like this.
Well, that's exactly what you need in these big moments, isn't it? As tensions are high, running towards the end of the game. It's been a very close second half. It's got to be said. The first half was not close. 8-3 was the score at the end of the first half. But the second half, PELT have rallied after the first 3 points. They were broken. They've come back into this one, and they're giving Chevron a good game here. But they are going to have to do a lot more than that in order to rescue this one. 14-9 the score. It's a game to 15. Chevron out on offense to see if they can close this one out and open their World Ultimate Club Championships with a win. Back to Winder. And the defense from PELT sets up again. Colthammer with the disc now. Steve Colthammer in the 51 shirt. Back to Josh Kime. Oh, the disc from Kime is perfect. What a visionary. Across to Colthammer. He's made 40 yards across an otherwise really tough PELT zone with that one disc. Opened up the field, done half the work for them. Now he has the disc again, threatens the hammer. PELT have to take that threat seriously. They were taking it away from Winder, but Kime can throw those as well. Barak into the end zone for Cornelius, and Chevron have to open their account here at the World Ultimate Club Championships with a win over PELT of Ireland, 15-9. Impressive stuff. Tom Stiles and Liam Grant enjoying every moment of this game. Liam, just wrap up what the difference was between the two teams during that match.
Yeah, convincing win for Chevron. I think mentally just more prepared. Perhaps the earlier game and the shorter roster side coming into play as PELT had their eyes off the ball at times. And I think it comes down to that first half of perfect play from Chevron, you know. If you can come to a tournament like this with the pressure PELT were giving in that first half and not turn over, that's what won them the game. You know, the second half was much tighter, a lot more trading going on, both teams going a little run. But yeah, that first half of perfection from Chevron really separated these two sides.
And the stats tell their own story as well. PELT having a lot of the action run through the same few players, whereas Chevron able to distribute the scores and assists across their entire squad. And the very few players that didn't have a mark against their name were the ones who are actually doing all the work with the disc in the backfield. So Chevron will be happy with that opener. Convincing 15-9 win against their familiar Irish opponents. And they will circle up and enjoy a few words from each of the captains as we see some of the highlights of the game. Incredible athleticism.
Yeah, great performance from both teams. As you see, Pool B now wide open with double wide, Chevron and Relapagos with a win. PELT 2 losses, but plenty of action to go.
And we'll be back with more action from across the World Ultimate Club Championships here from Cincinnati. Until then, Tom Stiles and Liam Grant wishing you a very good day and hoping you'll join us back here for more action shortly.